Happy almost Thursday. I'm Lulu and broadcasting from my incredibly bright and incredibly bare apartment. This is Geeks of the Week. I will begin by addressing my beautiful gaggle of geeks, and then I'll move on to my second ever comic book review, and this should maybe give you a hint as to what it might be about. Kind of. Mario, your choice of candidate gave me a real-life political heart attack, but I think I was saved by the hilarity that was you wearing a Mountie hat and a fake mustache, so we're all good. Nikki, you need to stop being so good at making videos because you're making the rest of us look bad, but you're getting awards for it, which is awesome, so congrats on that. I'm glad it went well and that losing all that sleep was worth it. Steph, as a figure collector and the future Mrs. Tony Stark, I am truly envious of your Iron Man Mark II figure. I mean Mark 1. I'm too lazy to go back and refilm that. I also enjoyed your tutorial. I didn't realize there were so many things to consider when making utility belts, so I'm glad you pointed out all those things for me. As I read more comics, it seems more likely that I'll have to make one soon, so I appreciate you doing the hard work. And I really hope your Halloween costumes are going well. As you guys will find out next week, I kind of consider Halloween my cosplayer's day off. And I don't really take it seriously anymore at all. So I really admire that you had the ambition to make costumes for both you and your boyfriend in time for Halloween. I know it hasn't been easy, but I just want you to know that whether or not you finish in time, you have all of my admiration and all of my respect. And you are one of my favorite cosplayers ever, 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 and there's not a damn thing that can change that. Pyro, glad to see you back this week. I'm sorry you're not feeling so well. Okay, I'm glad that we can be glasses twins this week, because I might be wearing contacts next week for Halloween week. Also, mad props for your Lancelot model, and thank you for reminding me that I need to do Code Geass theme show soon, because I keep pushing it back for theme weeks, but it's gonna happen. Though I must deduct points from you for making Rorschach style a thing, because it makes me very, very upset. You went and combined one of my favorite things with one of my least favorite things, and that is not okay. But I'll find a way to forgive you. Maybe. So for this week, I read both the trades of the New 52 Batgirl and the New 52 Birds of Prey. I have to say I went into both of these with extremely low expectations. My former roommate was a die-hard Stephanie Brown fangirl. So when the New 52 launched last year, that's all I heard about was how there was no more Oracle, there was no more Steph Brown, and Babs was back, and blah blah blah. And when my boyfriend picked up Birds of Prey, he said he had issues with it. And this is probably obvious to everybody already, but I've had no previous experience reading any of these characters. So all in all, I really did not know what to expect when I picked these up. But in the end, I really enjoyed both series, and here's why. So first up is Batgirl, written by Gail Simone. First I'll say that this series' strength is its art. The poses are really dynamic, and sometimes I forget that I'm actually reading a comic and not watching a movie. I guess that's kind of an exaggeration, but the art in this series definitely feels more real and alive than any other title I've read. Its second strength is the story. It begins with Mirror as this really great villain with a really twisted state of mind, but it evolves from a one-track story involving his plotline into a multiple-track story, so as it evolves, it only becomes deeper and more interesting. I also enjoyed Nightwing's cameo. The exploration of his complicated past with Batgirl was really enjoyable, brief though it was. Its third strength is the writing, and I would have most definitely listed this higher because Gail Simone is clearly a capable and talented writer, but some of the crap that comes out of Batgirl's mouth wouldn't sound cool even on a Saturday morning kids cartoon, like the really cheesy 90s ones. It's too cheesy for that. As Barbara, she's great. She's relatable, it's easy to feel for her and to feel compassion for her, but are you seriously trying to tell me that someone as intelligent as Barbara Gordon calls villains asswipes? Now, I am an intelligent lady with a decent vocabulary, but I lack the class and grace of Miss Barbara Gordon, so if I call someone an asswipe, it makes sense. You expect me to do it. Quite honestly, 99% of the writing is fantastic, but there's some lines that are just so god-awful, I really had to knock this book down some points for that. Also, I feel like I should touch on the fact that this series decided to reverse just about everything and have Barbara regain her ability to walk and literally kick ass and take names. Even as an outsider looking in, it was obvious that this was a controversial decision on DC's part. I'm usually pretty good about viewing these things critically, but it's a little more difficult for me to do as an able-bodied person with little experience or knowledge in this area. Suffice it to say, I think it was handled pretty well. Simone did actually touch on the issue, and I get the impression that she wasn't super crazy about the idea either. But I think the way she handled it was realistic and thought-provoking without being too big of a point or too small of a plot point, and that's really all I can say about that. Batgirl does appear for a little bit in Birds of Prey, and does so without doing anything that makes me go like this. And if I thought Batgirl was good, I devoured this book in a couple of hours. I've always liked characters that are not quite on either side of the law. They're sort of in this ambiguous gray area, and that's precisely what the birds are. In this incarnation, the birds consist of Black Canary, Starling, Katana, Poison Ivy, and of course a brief appearance by Babs. They are certainly quite the motley crew. They don't always get along, and they definitely have a lot of disagreements that get in the way, but a big part of the appeal of the story, I think, is their struggle to learn to like each other while learning to trust each other, and those are not necessarily one and the same, as this book thoroughly explores. One of the great strengths of this series so far is that each of the women are written very distinctly. They are treated as individuals, which can be very hard to do, especially with a group of women. There's this tendency to write them as being too similar with just one or two differentiating personality traits. The art in this series is also fantastically done, and I think the greatest thing about the art is just how expressively the faces are drawn. That combined with the great writing, I can almost hear the characters talking, which is kind of funny because they don't have canon voices like a cartoon or anything, so the fact that I can hear them talking is really incredible. Again, of the two, I definitely enjoyed Birds of Prey more, but both series are actually really well executed and very enjoyable reads, and I highly recommend them both. So like I said, I'm not unaware that diehard fans have their issues with the New 52 series, but from my experiences so far, I have to say that New 52 does a damn good job of doing what it set out to do, and that is to introduce new, curious fans like myself to the DC universe. Again, I can't say how they compare to the stories of the past, but I can say from where I'm sitting as a newbie, inexperienced comic book fan, the art, the writing, the characters, and the stories are so far very solid and very enjoyable, and that's really what should matter in the first place. So I encourage anyone who is looking for an avenue into comics to ignore the hate and the hype and to go and pick up an issue for yourself. Before I go, I just want to quickly pimp out Cosplay Shinko's inaugural cosplay photo contest, which is still running on Facebook. Entries close next Wednesday, Halloween, the 31st, so if you guys are planning on entering, please get your entries in before then. Part of the reason I want to remind you guys of this is because this is not your typical popularity, likes count only cosplay photo contest. There are a lot of prizes to give out, and though we have 200 incredible entries and growing every day, there's a very good chance that you could win something, so I really encourage you to enter. I might also add that you have the opportunity to win an award from me. Yes, I get to give out an award, so that should be incentive enough for you to enter. And if nothing else, it's free exposure. We have almost 2,000 fans on our Facebook page. Also, real quick, if anybody has back issues of Punk Rock Jesus or Harvest that they are willing to part with, please tell me. I will send you money. I can find them, and I want them. Anyway, that's all for me this week. Much love to my fellow geeks and to all our wonderful viewers. Thank you so much for everything. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you all on Halloween. And then Lulu stopped filming because The Daily Show became on.